A single bulb cost more than a house. This sentence sounds like a whisper from a fantasy tale. It feels impossible, a line crafted to capture the imagination but not to be believed as fact. Yet, it is a stark and simple truth from history. In the Dutch Republic during the 1630s, this very event occurred. A single dormant tulip bulb, a small onion-like object you could hold in the palm of your hand, could be exchanged for the price of a grand home on one of Amsterdam's finest canals. The news of such trades echoed through the bustling port cities and quiet provincial towns, becoming the subject of endless conversation and fervent speculation. The story of the tulip is not just about a flower. It is a profound story about money. It is a profound story about desire. It is a profound story about the very core of human nature. It unfolded in a time of great prosperity and change for the Dutch, who had recently won their independence and were building a global trading empire. This newfound wealth created a society eager for novelty and status. Into this world, the tulip arrived as more than a plant. It arrived as a vessel for dreams of immense riches. It arrived as a tool for social climbing. Its journey from a botanist's garden to the center of a frenzied financial market is a lesson that has rippled through the centuries, a warning that remains startlingly relevant today. The sheer drama of the situation is hard to overstate. Imagine a skilled craftsman, imagine a carpenter, imagine a stonemason, who had worked his entire life to afford a modest home for his family. He would have watched with awe and disbelief as merchants, and eventually even his own neighbors, wagered the equivalent of his life's work on a single flower bulb. The phenomenon, known as Tulip Mania, swept through the nation like a fever. It drew in people from all walks of life, the wealthiest aristocrats, humble weavers, cobblers, all chasing the promise of wealth that seemed to grow effortlessly from the soil. This period serves as the first well-documented example of a speculative financial bubble. The market started simple, then grew complex, and detached from the physical object of desire. Perceived value eclipsed intrinsic worth. The story is a study in crowd psychology, a drama of hope turning to greed, and greed turning to panic. It is a story we must listen to because its echoes can be heard in our own time. The tulip was not native to the flat, damp lands of Holland. Its journey to Europe began far away, in the mountainous regions of Central Asia. For centuries, it was cultivated and cherished in the gardens of the vast Ottoman Empire. The flower was a symbol of divine beauty and power. Its name, Layli, even used the same letters as the word for God, Allah, in Arabic script. A key figure was Carolus Clusius, botanist at the University of Leiden. The flowers that bloomed were astonishing. They showed a depth of color and an elegance of form that captivated viewers. But they were delicate and slow to propagate. A single bulb produced only a few offspring each year, making desirable varieties scarce. That natural rarity was the first ingredient in their rise to prominence. In the bustling, merchant-driven society of the Dutch Golden Age, wealth was not something to be hidden. It was to be displayed. Grand houses were built along the canals of Amsterdam, filled with fine furniture, expensive art, exotic goods from around the world. The tulip found its true calling not as a mere flower, but as the ultimate status symbol. Was a clear and public declaration of your success and refined taste. It announced that you were a person of means and sophistication. The most prized tulips were those with broken colors. We know today that this effect was caused by a virus that infected the bulb. A plain red tulip might one year bloom with astonishing white flames, instantly making its bulb immensely valuable. These broken tulips were even rarer than the others, adding another layer to their desirability and pushing their prices ever higher. As demand for tulip bulbs soared. Initially, the trade was physical. After the flowers had bloomed and the bulbs were lifted from the ground, the solution was written contracts. Trading promises instead of bulbs. A buyer would sign to purchase a specific bulb at a future date. This system, known as wind handle, it let the market operate through the fall. A single promise could be bought and sold multiple times before delivery. The market detached from the physical flower. Transactions moved from formal exchanges into the back rooms of taverns, coffee houses. The atmosphere was boisterous and fueled by alcohol. Contracts might change hands 5 or 6 times in one evening. This was pure speculation, not horticulture. The trade focused on the contract, not the bulb. The goal: buy low, sell high, fast. The paper market increased speed and volume. It also introduced leverage. People could control expensive bulbs with a small deposit. People with little capital entered and speculated on massive moves. Anyone could seem like they'd get rich. The stories of weavers, blacksmiths making fortunes spread like wildfire, drawing ever more people into the speculative frenzy. With the advent of the wind trade, prices began to climb at a dizzying, almost unbelievable rate. During the winter of 1636 to 1637, the tulip market went into overdrive. Now became a vertical explosion. Prices for common bulbs doubled and tripled in a matter of weeks. For the rarer varieties, the gains were even more astronomical. The market seemed to have lost all connection to reality. Why did so many people, from the savvy merchant to the cautious artisan, get swept up in this collective delusion? Savvy merchant, cautious artisan. Why were so many swept up in this delusion? The answer lies in a powerful combination of psychological forces that can take hold of a crowd. The first and most important of these is social proof. When we are uncertain about what to do, we look to others for clues. Friends, neighbors, respected community leaders. They saw these people buying tulip bulbs and making money. They assumed those people must know something they did not. The crowd's actions provided proof, creating a powerful urge to conform. This leads directly to the second force: herd behavior. Humans are social creatures. Follow the herd. As the tulip market grew, the herd became a stampede. Underpinning these behaviors were two of the most powerful human emotions: greed and fear. Greed was the engine of the boom. They were buying a lottery ticket that everyone else seemed to be winning. This was the fear of missing out, often called FOMO. People saw the value of their neighbor's assets multiply. The frantic rush to buy was driven as much by this desperate fear as it was by pure greed. The peak of the madness occurred in the deep winter of 1636 and into January of 1637. The wind trade was at its most frenetic. Contracts were for bulbs not delivered for 6 months. Prices grew ever more ludicrous. The market felt heavy, like the air before a thunderstorm. A few experienced traders quietly began to sell. Small cracks started to appear. Whispers, buyers struggling to find cash to settle contracts. The turning point came in early February, 1637. A large routine auction was scheduled in Haarlem. Initial offerings met hesitant bids, then silence. A prime collection was offered. Not a single buyer met the high asking price. The auctioneer lowered the price still. Silence. The failure sent a shockwave through the market. Prices did not just fall, they plummeted. Tulip Mania ended, but its lesson endures. Markets inflate when stories outrun reality and risk. Stay curious, think independently, and manage your downside. In every boom, remember the bulb beneath the bloom.